I need to do is I need to make sure I start eating.
All right, we are live.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
All right, we're back. It's been, what, a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
This week, we're going to be delving into a Star Wars discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I want to give a quick review of my thoughts on Muppets Mayhem.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because when I got here, he was watching the Muppets show, Muppets
Yeah.
Mayhem. It's on Disney Plus, right?
yes.
Okay.
So basically, it's about this this record producer who her studio is about to shut down, and she finds out that one band in particular was, I guess, like promised an album that never got made, or something like that. And that band was Electric Keith and Dr. Keith and the Electric Mayhem.
Yep.
So I'm only on episode 4 so far.
Okay.
But I'm really enjoying this show.
Okay, and basically, is this season like following the production of that album?
Yes.
Sort of like as a last-ditch effort for the record company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Not every joke lands, but there are still quite a few funny moments. And there are two things that I appreciate about the show so far.
Mm-hmm.
One is they don't try to shoehorn in any of the other Muppets. It's so far it's just the band.
Oh, wow, it's just Dr. Teeth and
Yes.
Electric Mayhem?
Yeah.
No Kermit, no Fonzie? No Gonzo?
No.
No Rizzo?
No, it's just the band and a new Muppet created for the show called Penny, who was the manager of the record studio.
Wow.
And she does have some funny moments.
That's good.
So, also, there isn't an overabundance of celebrity cameos.
Isn't that something that they did in like the Muppets movies?
Yeah.
Where it was like a ton of it?
Yeah.
Like, good example, what was it? The one guy, his brother was a Muppet, and his human version was Jim Parsons.
Yeah, but I thought that was funny.
It was funny, but also like the amount of celebrities just like boom, 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 boom. It was like,
yeah. And I would say my only issue is that the lead character Nora, who's played by Lily Singh, does not make a great first impression. Where she lies to everyone that she knows to make herself seem more important than she actually is. And I was really worried that she was going to be like this for the entire show, but it was only for the first 2 episodes. After that, she comes clean and she's fine. So
interesting.
Yeah. Muppets Mayhem. Give it a watch.
Okay. Might take a look at that one of these days if I get a Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm working my way through Peacock.
Anyway, Star Wars.
Yep.
This past weekend was Star Wars Day.
Yep. Well, this past week it had Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
May the 4th. Yes.
Yeah.
What was it? Almost 7 days ago. Yeah. By tomorrow, it
Yeah.
will have been a week ago.
Yeah. And Return of the Jedi was playing in theaters, so we decided to go check it out.
It was the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
I actually noticed that this one, I think, was right when the prequel trilogy was starting to come out, when the technology was just starting to get there with CGI.
Yeah, it was the special edition.
Yeah, because I've got 2 different editions of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I've got the original box set one, which is, the VHS tape. And I still got a working VCR, so I can still watch that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got the DVD version, where it's still, there's a little change to it, but it's not much. It's still largely the same movie that came out in, what was it, 40 years? You could say, 84, maybe 85 or something like that. Whenever that box set came out, it's pretty much the same thing. I managed to find it at Half Price Books, which, if nobody has heard of Half Price Books, go to Half Price Books. You find books for cheap, you can find movies for cheap. And I think they're a national chain. I think. I'm not sure. But honestly, I enjoyed finding those things. But anyways, back to Star Wars. There was new CGI with the aliens, some different touches of scenes. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah. And I was really confused because throughout most of the movie I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
I've watched when I was little. Return of the Jedi was my favorite. My brother's favorite, when he was the same age as me, was Episode 4. Mine was Episode 6. Then we both grew up and realized, no, Episode 5 is the best one out of the original trilogy. Episode 5.
Yeah. And I could have sworn the Han rescue sequence happens earlier in the movie. It was towards the beginning.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
in the beginning, shortly after Jabba's palace is introduced. That's when the Han rescue scene happens. I mean, it started off at the same time. I think what you're confused about is that there's all this extra scenes that were in there that was just padded out. It was
Okay.
It's basically director's cut sort of stuff.
Okay.
When that Twilight was thrown into the Rancor's pit. Well, she fell into the Rancor's pit. Originally, it's and then you see these aliens all looking down, and you're as the Rancor's eating her. There was some director's cut stuff in there.
Okay.
So it still occurs in the right order. It's just, hey, there's director's cut. Oh, there's a little bit extra there. That's cool. There's a little extra there. Cool. The one thing that really spooked me, though, was the friggin' Ewoks. The Ewoks spooked me, okay? And I'm not going to say it was every Ewok, but it was Warwick Davis's Ewok. The eyes just looked a little unnatural there. They looked like Furby eyes. It's like, what the? I wanted to stand up in the theater and say, what the hell is that? Seriously, though, it was like Warwick Davis's costume. It's had Furby eyes on there. It's
But yeah, this isn't just going to be about Return of the Jedi, but just Star Wars in general.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because we could talk about Return of the Jedi, but we also need to talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
But I knew this was a director's cut or a special edition because towards the end, where it was Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, they didn't have David Prowse's character for Anakin.
Yeah, they had...
They had Hayden Christensen. Which I was like, oh, yeah, wait a minute. I know Dorkly Bits did this thing. It's like, oh, yeah, I made it to the good side now. And then everyone's like, oh, it took you long enough, you freaking loser. Hey, wait a minute, when the heck did you change back? Oh, yeah, more with the Force than you guys. Oh, my God, we got Jesker. We got Jesker Jimenez.
Yeah, Jesker James.
Jesker James, okay. Wait, he was in one of our other videos, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We were having a dialogue. Yeah, favorite film of the franchise? brings an end to the Lucas story. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is satisfying. It is indeed satisfying.
Yeah.
I honestly enjoyed Return of the Jedi, but Empire Strikes Back was just, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But then you can't really talk about the original trilogy without talking about the prequel trilogy.
Right. And as much hate as the prequels got, or I guess like still get, they're honestly not that bad.
They're good. They're pretty good movies. I mean, in all honesty, episode one's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It is. For what it is, it's pretty good. If you take out some of the elements, it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
For instance, Jar Jar. Now, let me say this again for everyone just to make sure they get it. I don't hate the actor for Jar Jar.
No.
The guy who did Jar Jar, really good job.
Mm-hmm.
But the character, I'm like, the heck is this fool? This guy's like, oh, Misa, run around.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. It's like, honestly, when I look back at it, I'm like, I feel sorry for the guy that had to play Jar Jar.
Yeah. There's like a whole other issue with the Star Wars fan base in general.
Yeah. Okay, episode 1 was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to start off because you're like, oh, look at that. There's a young Obi-Wan. There's his master, Qui-Gon Jinn. And, oh, I wonder what... And then it's like, what's your name? Anakin Skywalker. Oh. And I love how they start off with episode 1 with George Lucas, because I thought one of the most genius ways to market it was to have Jake Lloyd's Anakin, and in his shadow, Darth Vader. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people pointing out how that was honestly one of the best Star Wars posters.
Hands down, because you're seeing the beginning when this boy's going to become Darth Vader, this absolute menace. Okay, Jessica is saying, I was just waiting for Jar Jar to be like, oh, probably not the Lord of the Sith. Me said the Lord of the Sith, and you saying big doo-doo this time. I think I did the voice right. Which is funny enough because actually, I like doing voices.
Yeah.
I can't make money off of it, but I do them for fun. I actually tried out for like a parody role.
Oh, really?
For like an anime. But I didn't get it because I don't think my stuff was up to snuff or the files just weren't right. Either way, I still take it as like, hey, I can still do voices. I can still do the voices. And I try to make them as different and unique so that it doesn't sound like me completely. But anyways, yeah, that poster was freaking awesome. Then after episode 1 came episode 2.
Well, okay, one thing I do want to mention about episode 1 is, along with Jar Jar, people also heavily criticized Jake Lloyd's performance as Anakin. I thought he was fine.
He's a child actor. He was okay. He was acting like a little kid. What more could you want from this guy?
Yeah. And a lot of that criticism affected both actors.
Yeah.
Really badly.
Heavily. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow. Jake Lloyd hasn't recovered.
No.
He hasn't recovered at all.
No. I don't think he's acted since.
No, he hasn't. I haven't heard anything. I hear he's keeps getting in trouble with law or drugs or something like that. I think Jessica is saying, I think people miss the point of Kid Anakin. To show that even the most famous movie villain of all time started as an innocent child. Yeah.
Yeah.
The contrast was meant to be shocking. Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
And I would say that from episode 1 all the way to the middle point of episode 3, you still saw him as he believes in the Jedi, but as he's talking more with Palpatine, you start to notice that shift.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more prominent from 2 to 3, but it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I know a lot of people called Anakin, especially as he got older, whiny.
Mm-hmm. Which I can see. I hate sand.
Yeah. God.
It's one of the funniest things. I hate sand. It's coarse. And everyone's just like, hey, you want to stop Anakin? Just have sand.
And then where does the final battle of Episode 2 take place? On a sand planet.
Yeah, on a sand planet. On Geonosis.
Yeah, which I really wish they had done, like, a callback to that line where, like, he lands on the sand planet and is just like, I hate sand.
Yeah. But let's see. There was Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, which is...
I would say out of the entire prequel trilogy, it has to be, like, the weakest.
Yeah.
Like, there's always... Every single trilogy always has the weakest film. Yeah. Episode 2 is where we learned that George Lucas can't write romance. You are right.
Yeah.
You are right. However, he had to set it up. So he can't do it. And even like the novelizations, because I still have the novelization of Episode 2. I'm like, well, this is kind of schlocky. It's kind of silly, stupid. But yeah, it was when Anakin and Padme, they get together. Which is like one of the main driving points for Anakin to turn to the dark side.
Yeah. Which, okay, one thing I want to mention that about the DVD, like the DVDs for all of the Star Wars movies, well, except for the sequel trilogy, but we'll get to those.
Yeah.
Something I found to be like really cool was that the like for each movie, the main menu changes every time you put it in the disc.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't. Wait, no, I might have noticed that, but I pigeonholed it.
Yeah.
But I guess it's all focused on, like, I guess with 1, the focus was on Naboo. With Episode 2, it was Geonosis. With Episode 3, what was it? I think it was Mustafar.
Yeah. But I thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little detail too.
Yeah.
Episode 2, yeah, there was supposed to be that romance, but it was awkward. It was clunky. And to be fair, I was like, I wasn't entirely interested in romance. Where the scene with Anakin and Padme in the bedroom made me think, am I supposed to be here? It seems really private. Should I turn off the DVD? Yeah, it was. However, it's like I've got a girlfriend, and when we talk, you know, it's generalized, but there are moments where it's like kind of private, but I also know like the way that we talk with each other is not the way that Anakin and Padme talked, because that just seemed like awkward teenage flirting. I don't know, something like that. It seemed like both of them were in high school. It's like, oh, I'm this, and I'm kind of weird, awkward, and sweaty. Yeah. I'm this way, and I'm kind of weird, awkward, and sweaty too. I'm like, this feels weird. This feels weird. Even when I watch it again, I'm like, this feels weird. Give me the fight scenes. Give me the fight scenes. I want to see that stuff.
Yes. Yeah, which
was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Each of the prequel movies has at least one standout scene. Mm-hmm. With Episode 1, it was the pod race, and the fight with Darth Maul.
Yeah, I would honestly say the fight with Darth Maul was pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Episode 2...
Honestly, I would have to say it was the battle on Geonosis.
Yeah.
That, like, when the Jedi just all unrobe themselves and show, like, ha-ha, we're here!
And Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett.
Yeah. Jessica is saying Padme was going on about, I'm a senator, you're a Jedi, we can't do this, we have responsibilities, while she's wearing a skimpy dress and giving Anakin the screamy eyes. Yes! Yes! That is entirely it. That's why I thought it was so awkward and weird, because I'm like, your words are saying one thing, but your body is saying another. It's like that one song goes, my mind is telling me no, but my mind is telling me yes. Like, pick one. Pick one. Oh my god. I will say this though. After episode 2, we did start to see Anakin become more, turning slowly to the dark side, and it was nice to see because it's like, oh, yeah, he's starting to turn into Vader a little bit.
Yeah.
By episode 3,
there's also the scene where his mother dies too.
yeah, that's a big proponent as well.
Yeah.
That fuels like the main conflict within Anakin in episode 3, because his mother dying in 2 because he couldn't save her.
Yeah, and then I think Padme was the breaking point.
Padme was very much the breaking point.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, there in episode 3 where he's like ending the whole war so that he and Padme could be together, and she comes down and she's like, "It's like, you're not the man I fell in love with before," and you just see him go full like temper tantrum Vader in a way, which a lot of people have memed to death, especially like on the 5th, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. It start on the top panel. It's Anakin's telling Padme, "Hey, it's Revenge of the 5th." But Anakin, it's Cinco de Mayo. You have turned her against me. There's Obi-Wan with the freaking mustache, sombrero, and maracas. I'm like, you fucker. You fucker. That is hilarious. Honestly, I would have to say, out of all of the prequel movies,
Revenge of the Sith is the best.
Oh, hands down the best. Like, I will rewatch that over and over again just because of how good it is.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, for May 4th, I dressed up as Anakin. Like, from episode 3. Don't exactly got the hair for it, but I dressed up as him, and I'm like, and you wouldn't believe how many kids were in school were like, "Are you Obi-Wan? Are you from Mandalorian?" I'm already looking forward to this year being over, and those kids were just like, I can't tell if you're being joking or actually serious. But for a number of them, I wanted to say, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to rewatch those movies.
Yeah.
Or have your dad hit you over the head and say, you're going to be watching all 6 episodes of the Star Wars movies until you know them.
Another scene that has been memed to death is Anakin killing the younglings.
Yes, that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Jessica's saying the scene with Anakin on Mustafar after killing the Separatists. He's staring out at the lava and he has a tear in his eyes. Not a word spoken, but you can see the regret he has even at that point. Yeah, but even then, also the yellow eyes where it's like, oh, his turn to the dark side is complete. Yeah. But also the friggin' younglings thing. Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? Like, oh!
Yeah, you should have seen when Young Jedi Adventures was announced. People were like, "Well, I'm pretty sure we know how this is going to end."
Yep, absolutely. But after the prequel trilogy with the Revenge of the Sith was done, there was a nice little gap. There was like a 10+ year gap where people were like, "We're satisfied with this." The prequels weren't the best, but it rounded out the story.
Yeah.
Then came not the sequel trilogy. We're not doing the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
It was the Clone Wars cartoons, both the Genndy Tartakovsky version and the Dave Filoni version. Both were so freaking good. Like, I watched them, both of them, beginning to end. And while the Genndy Tartakovsky, it's good. It's really, really good. I loved the Dave Filoni version.
I think I really only watched. I have the Genndy Tartakovsky Star Wars Clone Wars.
I actually watched it on YouTube for free.
But I watched the Clone Wars animated movie, and I was like,
Yeah, that's like episode 1 right there. It's so much. It's so hard. Okay, so Jessica has posted two comments for us. I think at that point, the younglings, he knew he screwed up, but he figured he could never go back. He couldn't forgive himself until Luke showed him he could be forgiven. Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
You'll see it in episode 6 where it's like, I deserve forgiveness. And yes, as much as I love Hayden Christensen, I think Clone Wars Anakin is the better written Anakin.
Yeah.
It 100% is. It 100% is. It adds depth to the character of Anakin that even Hayden Christensen says, this is the better version. Like, I did okay, but to actually go in depth and explore Anakin more as this series goes on, it's great. It's great. Like, if you go 1, 2, Clone Wars series, then into 3, you start that change from 2 to 3. It doesn't seem so drastic. It's like, this has actually happened.
Yeah. Hayden Christensen was good when it came to like facial acting.
Oh yeah.
But I really think that his performance in the prequels had really more to do with the script than him.
Yes, I would agree with that because he was also in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that one did so well, did it?
No.
Which is a shame because Hayden Christensen was coming back as Vader. I was like, oh, sweet. Like, he is easily, I don't know, either my second or third favorite Vader. I would have to say second because there's James Earl Jones, voice of Vader, with David Prowse as, the body of Vader. It's like a deadly combination. You got a man that is like, that sounds like, you will dispense with the pleasantries and do your job. And like, because with David Prowse's voice, it was, all right, listen here, wanker. You're going to do your damn job, and you're going to drop the pleasantries, all right?
And I think they actually did consider using his original voice for...
Yeah, but then when James Earl Jones just dropped his performance, his little mixtape, they're like, we got to do him.
Yeah.
All right, Jessica.
Because it didn't sound menacing enough.
No, it didn't, but James Earl Jones as Vader, it's like, Jessica James has said, I think Hayden was the right choice for live action Anakin. I would agree. It's just George is a better story maker than a director. He can't direct people well. He can't.
Yeah.
He can't. As a story writer, he's much better. Good example of what we could have had for the sequel trilogy. It would have been Han and Leia's kids looking for Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been looking for Anakin. And
you mean Luke?
No, yeah, you're right, Luke. Why did I say Anakin? Yeah. They would be looking for Luke, and over the course of 3 movies, they eventually find Luke before, the torch was passed from Han, Luke, and Leia to the 2 kids. But we would also have seen Han, Luke, and Leia together on the screen one last time.
Yeah, because let's face it, the sequel trilogy was a mess.
It was. It was a directing and written and scriptural mess. I will say this until my dying day. Was I snookered into episode 7? I had high hopes for the sequel trilogy? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. I will be man enough to admit that I was hoping it would be good. It wasn't until I talked with one of my old coworkers and said, it's literally just a copy and paste of episode 4.
Although, I do still think that Force Awakens is by far the best out of the 3 of them.
Easily. But that's because it also had the most hype.
Yeah.
All right, as long as Han and Leia's son and daughter don't kiss, they wouldn't have kissed. They wouldn't have kissed. Star Wars only gets enough hate for the Luke and Leia kiss. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Well, that's because I think George Lucas admitted that he was like making things up on the fly.
Yeah, that sounds about right for Georgie boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Luke and Leia kiss. Even Family Guy. Family Guy's like, every time I kiss you, it's like I'm kissing my sister. Space Alabama, Space Alabama, Space Alabama, Space Alabama. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like the Luke and Leia kiss is just, oh my gosh. Yeah, even George even said Luke's sister was meant to be a new character at that point. It wasn't until episode 6 he decided to make Leia his sister. This George, why?
Which, like, I guess it's confirmed in Return of the Jedi that Leia is Force sensitive.
She is indeed Force sensitive. She is indeed Force sensitive because she even says, "I felt him," referring to Luke.
Although I still think that scene of Leia flying through space in Last Jedi was stupid.
It kind of was. Was it pretty to look at? Yes. Was it not smart at all? It wasn't. And then they killed one of my favorite leading military men off screen. They off-screened Admiral Akbar. What the heck? That was when I was like, okay, Ryan, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah. In fact, when Leia was like flying through space, I half expected to start playing da 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 da.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, honestly, even if you forget about the sequel trilogy, because I'll be honest, the story ends at 6. There's no reason to continue.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Rise of Skywalker is basically just damage control the movie.
Yeah, it really is. And people said, I knew people were like there were some friends of mine that were saying, "Oh, it's good. It's a really good movie. It's one of the best Star Wars movies."
Yeah.
It wasn't getting me into seats. I know you invited me along to go see it,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't think I wanna. Especially when I was constantly hearing like about how they had to do reshoots and reshoots and reshoots and editing right up until the last minute. Oh, I remembered. Oh, jeez. Please tell me you agree with this, Jessica. I remember the theater Leia started flying out. I was ready to throw my hands up and say, "For fuck's sake, that's not how." Yes! Yes! That's not how the Force works at all! That is space bullshit! That is space bullshit of the highest caliber! And somehow she doesn't die in this. In this vacuum of space. Like her ribs don't get crushed in because she's not plugging her nose, she's not plugging her ears. Seriously, I swear to God, I know I look stupid, but I think this is one of the best ways to make sure you don't lose air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But even then,
yeah, I know, like, the sequel trilogy has its defenders.
oh yeah.
But there's no reason to constantly go after the actors or the people behind the movie and start harassing and attacking them.
It really isn't. Like they were just doing their job ultimately, and I would have to say their job. They did the best they could, but sometimes what I found was that there were plenty of Hollywood execs that tried to have their thumbs in the pie for these Star Wars movies. Yeah, and it irritated me. It's like just tell a coherent and cohesive story. Yeah. Not all this bullshit. The Force isn't Superman powers. It's based on the Tao in Taoism. That was the first sign that the sequel trilogy was going downhill. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always had a problem with the Star Wars fan base.
Honestly, but I will say this. After the sequel trilogy, everyone was like, we're just tired. Then came out The Mandalorian, which the first season, that was fun.
Or are we going to talk about the spin-off films?
What other spin-off films are there?
Rogue One and Solo.
Oh, Rogue One. Yeah, we got to talk about those.
Yeah.
Rogue One was the best one out of the spin-off films. Rogue One. I enjoyed Solo. I personally enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jessica is saying all the actors were cast well for their characters. It's just Disney didn't have a vision for the trilogy.
Yeah.
They really didn't. They should have had I mean, George Lucas basically said, "Here's the vision for the trilogy. You want to know what they did? Oh, thanks, George. So, what do you think we should do?" Literally, they took what he had and threw it in the garbage. Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, and especially Adam Driver are really good actors.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I have only seen Oscar Isaac. Boyega is barely hanging on, and so Isaac and Boyega are no. Hold on, Isaac and Driver are the only ones that seem to still have their careers going, because even despite Star Wars, they're like doing other stuff, so it's like they're seen as their own selves.
Yeah.
John Boyega is barely hanging on.
Yeah.
Barely hanging on. Daisy Ridley, I haven't heard jack squat.
I mean, I've only heard that apparently she's going to return for another trilogy.
Which I remember you telling me that on the way back from episode 6. I was like, why? Why?
After the way she was treated, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like especially like the actress who played Rose, who I can't remember her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jessica is saying you can watch episode 3, then Rogue One, and then episode 4, and it flows very well together. You're right. But even if you cut out episode 3, just Rogue One and episode 4, oh, it's like one smooth take. It's like, wow.
Yeah, because
it piggybacked right onto the beginning
Yeah.
of it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's why I like Rogue One and still enjoy it.
Yeah. Now I know.
And it's another Rey movie coming. Oh, go on.
Yeah. Well, both movies have a lot of like production issues.
Mhm.
I know that for Solo, Phil Lord and Chris Miller were originally attached to direct.
Mm-hmm.
They got kicked off for creative differences,
Ah.
and then Ron Howard took over to direct the movie. And I think releasing Solo like so close to Last Jedi was a mistake.
Yeah, I would honestly have to say it kind of was, because everybody was, after Last Jedi, people were like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Like and then of course they decided they were going to boycott Solo, and unfortunately it was successful.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was a bad movie.
It wasn't a bad movie. No.
I genuinely enjoyed it. Could I have used a little bit more Han Solo in the movie? Yeah. I could have used a little bit more Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, even at the end, I would have said, like, hey, can we see the Kessel Run with the 12 parsecs?
But yeah, Solo should have been a Disney Plus show.
And Obi-Wan should have been a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I know Obi-Wan was originally going to be a movie.
Yeah. But then they broke it up. I always find that, preppy. I always find that the series, I enjoy them more because they're allowed to go more into depth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna stand up for a little bit. I got a little bit of restless legs. Oh, can't sit for very long. I'm starting to turn to my dad.
Yeah. So like going back to Solo, there's one character in the movie that's voiced by Jon Favreau.
Oh yeah.
And so when I saw that, my immediate reaction was, why didn't they just get him to direct this?
Yeah.
Like.
But turns out he was actually starting to get going on Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Which honestly was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. So yeah. First 2 seasons of Mandalorian were great.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even bother finishing the 3rd season.
I haven't even gotten to the 3rd season.
Obi-Wan was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
never watched Obi-Wan, so I can't say.
Andor I never finished.
All right. Well, Jessica is saying, I'd love a Disney Plus series of Darth Plagueis training a young Palpatine. But they would probably ruin Palpatine by saying he turned to the dark side over his boyfriend or something breaking up with him. No. Here's the thing. He turned to the dark side because he didn't get his beach house on Naboo. That way you could tie in Robot Chicken into this shit. And that would honestly be pretty goddamn fun. Be like, wait a minute, what? We're fucking bringing in Robot Chicken into this. Yes, Robot Chicken is now canon. Deal with it. Seth MacFarlane can play the voice of Palpatine. Seriously, honestly, I just go back and rewatch those Star Wars Robot Chicken ones because they're so freaking funny.
I've always had this idea of Anakin and Darth Vader doing like couples counseling. Or not Anakin, sorry, Luke.
Luke and his dad?
Yeah.
Doing family counseling?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Honestly, I will say this. Like, I would love to see a Darth Plagueis series training a young Palpatine, but you're right, they would find a way to ruin it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we have to put an LGBTQ representation. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you fucking don't have to. Just tell a good story. That's all we care about. Good example. Hogwarts Legacy. I just picked up that game today. Right now, I have it downloading as we speak. I had to add something on so that the machine would keep running. But right now, I got Gravity Falls going so that I can, the game can download. Which, by the way, is a fun game, fun movie, or fun series. Anakin and Landing family counseling. He flew up her planet and he held her back too. He held her back. Heck, even Hissy has done things where they're like making dad jokes. What? What'd you say? I said, you're making dad jokes. You think I'm a dad? When they make Anakin just seem so freaking silly at times, it's freaking hilarious. You have a granddaughter? The only way that I watched episode 9 was the Hissy one, which was just like, this made the movie so much funnier. I will say this, the one thing that I got from that was that Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley kissing, like cousins kissing sort of thing. I was like, what? Yeah. It's not even gay representation. It's just Palpatine doesn't need a reason to be evil. He's Palpatine. He was born evil. In the Plagueis novel, he was literally evil from birth. Really?
They brought back Palpatine for, like, no reason.
They literally did. I honestly did not know that. What novel are you talking about, the Darth Plagueis? I'm going to have to find that one. Yeah. Because if he's literally evil from birth, I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Which means he absolutely would be like, oh, this beach house on Naboo? Yeah, I'm just going to take it. Yeah. I'm like, man, you won't even pay for the freaking deed. You're just going to take it? Yep, squatters' rights. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, I actually had this idea that the ending of Rise of Skywalker should have been reversed, where Kylo Ren is the one who kills Palpatine, and Rey is the one who dies.
Honestly, I think that one would have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
It would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think doing that, the ending where Rey takes the Skywalker name would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, honestly, with Adam Driver taking the Skywalker name, instead of Ben Solo, who's Ben Skywalker, It's like, oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because the name Ben comes from, Obi-Wan. Yeah, honestly, we could talk about Star Wars all the live long day. I feel like we barely scratched the surface, and yet
I know.
We might have to make a part 2 for this. Because honestly, I'm like, I kind of want to go home, and I kind of want to have some dessert. It's called Darth Plagueis. Palpatine's dad literally says he could tell something was wrong with Palpatine from birth. The whole novel is about Palpatine's training as a Sith up to the end of episode 1. Neat.
Yeah.
I think, actually, there was a tell that Plagueis was actually in episode 1.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out on which one it was Plagueis.
Huh.
But a lot of people are like, maybe he was a banker or something like that. I mean, there are pictures of Plagueis, so if I'm gonna have to rewatch episode 1 and point them out to you.
Okay.
Like we could literally like pull it up on your TV. It's like, and pause right there.
Yeah. I know at some point, I'm gonna go through the Star Wars movies and listen to all the commentary tracks.
Yeah. Well, and there's the video games as well.
Yeah.
Which, oh my god, that's gonna have to be like the next one.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should do. Like, we should do part 2 for this will be the Star Wars video games.
Yeah.
Which will be, we're talking like Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, the original ones, okay? The original ones and the new ones and the new Star Wars Jedi games. Oh, look, Jessica has our answer. Novel, he's in the background of episode 1. He's a species known as Moon and part of the banking clan. The aliens in episode 2 who said to Dooku, we will sign your treaty. Oh. I'm going to have to find them.
Yeah, I know, like, the Ahsoka show is coming up.
Yeah.
Soon.
But we're going to have to talk about the Jedi games.
Yeah.
And we also have to talk about the Lego Star Wars games. Like, we absolutely have to talk about those.
Yeah, which, you might be doing the talking on that one, since I'm...
You haven't played any Legos games?
No.
Dude, I've played, like, 2 of them. Honestly, I haven't even played any Lego Star Wars games, but they're so fun and silly. They're aimed towards kids. So it's like, hey... They're silly, they're stupid, and after a while they started incorporating voice acting, and I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, I did see one funny clip where of one of the Star Wars Lego games where apparently if you lose the pod race, Qui-Gon like almost falls over the balcony.
Oh.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that is actually a little bit funny. Okay, but it's like going on 50 minutes or so.
Yeah.
We there's still more that we can talk about, so we might have to cut this just a little bit short. So next time, when should we get together to record part 2? I am free. Let's see. Do you got work Thursday night and Friday night? We're gonna check a schedule real quick.
Yeah, I work tomorrow from 11:45 to 5.
Okay.
Friday from 12:15 to 6.
Woo.
I am off on Saturday and Sunday, but I'm going to the boat with my parents for Mother's Day.
Okay, yeah. And I was gonna say we shouldn't record on Sunday.
So,
Sunday is Mother's Day, folks. Make sure you say thank you to Mommy and that you love her very much because that stuff is important. Jessica's going to be live streaming tonight at 10. You guys want to watch. Also got a video on which is worse between episodes. What is that? 9 or 8 or 9?
8 or 9, yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Yeah. I am off on the 17th, though, which is a Wednesday.
Okay, I might have to double check. I might have rehearsal that night.
Okay.
So might be a little tough.
Otherwise, I could do it. Shut up! I could do it the following Thursday, which I get off at 5.
Okay, let's shoot for Thursday.
Okay.
So it's gonna have to be Thursday next week. Bye. No. No. Sorry, our setup here is not the best.
Yeah. Sorry.
May the puppy with you. And also with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
we'll see you later.
Yes.
And the pup.
Yeah.
Say bye, pup.
Comment, like,
Good girl.
subscribe, share the video, join the Discord.
And also check out Jessica James. He
Yes.
is going to be streaming tonight at 10 Eastern
Yes.
Time. He's
And-
got a video on which is worse, episode 8 or 9.
Yes, and subscribe to him too because he's great.
He is good. He's good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Puppy, say bye.